how's it going and welcome to the Try Time podcast. Stay tuned for your weekly dose of rugby league chatter, discussing what's happening in the world of rugby league.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Try Time podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Callum.
And on this week's episode, we're going to be looking at Super League over the last decade, particularly which players have stood out the most. The task was simple. We each had to come up with our own team of the decade, starting 13 and then a bench of honourable mentions of the players who have impressed us most over the last 10 years of Super League.
Yeah, so we're going to go through every position, fullback to loose forward, and then just list off all the honourable mentions. So Matt's got a certain amount.
I've got a few for some of the positions. Others were a bit more straightforward than others.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll let you get us kicked off, Matt, the fullback. We'll get straight into it.
Well, before we just crack into that, a few things regarding certainly what I've gone for in terms of making the decision. Obviously, performance is a key factor in impressing over the last decade, but also longevity. I've only really considered players that have been around for 3 to 4 seasons of good quality rugby in Super League. So, no Ben Barbers, no James Seguiaro or anyone
even
like that.
though they might have been the best.
Even if they might have been in contention for the best performers, it's hard to put them in a team of the decade if they've only played like
a couple of seasons,
20 games.
Yeah, definitely.
So, without further ado, into the fullbacks.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first with your choice?
Yeah, so my choice at fullback is Sam Tompkins, who might be a bit contentious, but you try to think of the fullback of the decade, and it is hard, but I think Tompkins, even though he had his stint in NRL, he was really good for Wigan. You can't deny how good he was for Wigan at the start. And then he went to NRL.
I was going to say at the start.
He went to NRL, and he did not. I don't think he flopped really in NRL that much. I don't think it suited him, but I've seen.
Any Aussie viewers watching this or New Zealanders might disagree with you on that one.
But that's the thing. He came back, and when he were back at Wigan, I thought he was good again then. And then he went to Catalan, and right now he's still ripping it up for Catalan. So I think you've got to give it to him. You have to. Personally, that's me anyway. You might not but try to think of another fullback of the decade.
I mean, the obvious name. Now, before I actually say who I've gone for, there are a few that came to mind. Straight away, whenever I saw anyone discussing this sort of post online, the name Paul Wellens popped up. For me, he wasn't around enough of this decade.
Last decade is the fullback.
He's probably a very good shout.
Yeah, definitely.
But this decade, not around for enough of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Jamie Shaw was mentioned. Very good for Hull FC in the big games, particularly those Challenge Cups. Broke through at least probably about 7 years ago now.
He's definitely played in.
He wasn't
at the top of his game. I think the last sort of 2-3 years he's really stepped it up massively. Whereas I just think Tompkins has had that long. He was almost like Shaw at the start with Wigan. How Shaw's been the last couple of years, and then he's took that
to the next level.
And his consistency seems to have built around in Super League.
So that meant really there were 2 names for me. And it's Sam Tompkins.
Yeah.
Or the man I really love and one of my favourite players. That is very sarcastic. Second chance, Zach Hardacre.
Yeah, he's on another.
We've got another. This is someone else that we've already annoyed too much to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
We're slowly getting through people that will never want to talk to us. But those 2 have got to be the last 2. So for Hardacre, you've got Man of Steel winner 2015, broke through right at the start in 2011 on the wing. Was a key part in grand finals in 11, 12. 15, of course, as well as 2 Challenge Cups, and arguably decided the 2017 grand final.
I think
whether that's a positive or not is probably a definite no, but he definitely decided the outcome of that game.
He's still doing well at Wigan, isn't he? He's not
he's played his way back into a Great Britain shirt from effectively having half of everyone that wasn't a Wigan fan saying he should be kicked out of rugby.
Yeah, he's done well. I think him and Tompkins not the same boat. I just think Tompkins has been that step.
But for the record, I did go for Sam Tompkins.
I guess you just putting him again.
I've got to make the case.
Yeah,
Hardacre definitely an honourable mention.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, he also won Leeds the 2017 grand final, even though we'd got rid of him. So
as a Leeds fan, you should love him, really. Right, go on, you do your winger then.
Okay,
your number 2. I'll go into 2.
We'll do we'll go down the not numerical order, so outcomes are fun to remember who I've put. Number 2. So again, a few names came to mind for this one.
Same with me, same for me.
I had a top 3 here. And the top 3 in no particular order. Tommy Makinson, Golden Boot winner.
He's got to be a mention, yeah.
Scored the most tries last year, I think the year before as well. Been around for quite a while now, longer than you think, actually.
The Golden Boot as well.
Jermaine McGilvray carried Huddersfield a lot. Played
He's just been
very well in their league leader season.
Decade. And he's played so well. I know we're not counting England, but I think he also has...
No, I think England and NRL, if they've gone there and not embarrassed themselves, we should at least honour it, even if we don't take that into consideration.
Definitely, yeah.
And Josh Charnley. Big try numbers for Wigan and Warrington. Definitely has, had that stint in Union, which I've tried not to judge this on too much.
He was there a couple of years, so it's not taken too much out of his... Again. Which one have you gone for then?
I've gone for Josh Charnley as
You've gone for Charnley? Oh, right. We've gone for different...
Very good finisher. Still got a lot of pace behind him. Big, strong runner of the ball.
It was a mention for me. He wasn't my...
If you asked me as a Leeds fan, who would I want wearing that number 2 shirt out of those 3? And for the sake of arguments, we'll keep Tom Briscoe as an option, even though I would take Charnley over the others.
Really?
Because he reminds me a lot more of the... He's a bit more of a Ryan Hall style winger.
Yeah. McGilvray, I think, is more on his way
down now.
Which I think for his age,
but then this is of the decade. Just because I'd choose him over McGilvray at Leeds, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's played better over the 10 years.
But going on to my pick is, I had the same 3 names in my head, going around my head, as well as Patrick Arvan, but... That is
played more number 5, I'd say.
He did.
So you brought him in too early.
I didn't plan to say that. That has just been said now. So it is McGilvray.
You've gone for Jerry.
I've gone for McGilvray, which I think is
it's a good shout.
Yeah. He's just been so that good, and he's scored a lot of tries in Super League and for England and everything. I just think without him, I think Huddersfield are a bit...
They're a lot worse.
A lot... harder to
Him
watch.
And Danny Brough had a really good combination, certainly throughout the middle part of the decade.
Definitely, yeah. And he still kept... Then I think he moved from being probably one of the best winners in Super League to being England, in that 2017 World Cup. Yeah. You can't deny how good he was for England.
He was such a good player for England, and like you said, he's one of the few players that was given the big, long contracts the year Huddersfield won the league leaders.
Yeah, and it's paid off.
That's actually justified the entirety of that contract and more. Because, shameless plug of one of our future videos, so if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel already, drop a sub, that way you won't miss it when it comes out. We're going to be looking a bit more detail about the league leaders squad that Huddersfield had.
And where they are now.
Yeah, where they are now. And we'll actually see how many of them really didn't quite justify the contracts that they got.
Yeah.
So, I think moving on to number 3 in our first centre.
I'll go with Watkins.
You've gone Callum Watkins.
I think you will... Well, go on, talk me through your process.
Again, I have 3 names for number 3. Michael Shenton.
Yep.
Callum Watkins. Mark Percival.
Are they for just 3 or 3 and 4?
Just 3.
Just 3.
I have another 2 in consideration for 4.
Alright.
So, starting with Michael Shenton, very good at the start of the decade. One of Saints' best players in the grand final defeat against Leeds. It really came back to form in 2017 with Castleford, however, did maybe go a bit on a disappearing act in the middle of the decade, partly due to injury, partly not really settling at St Helens, and just in general not being one of the top performers.
Yeah.
Callum Watkins, ever present pretty much throughout the decade. When he played well, Leeds played well. Did, however, buckle under the pressure of captaincy, and whilst that was only 6 months of a decade, which in reality isn't very long, it did have to be taken into account. And Mark Percival, who, again, here for most of the decade, always a consistent performer, but hasn't often stood out like Watkins has.
Yeah.
Maybe not your direct match winner,
Yeah, and probably again that does come back to England. Like Watkins, I think has that higher pedigree due to. I know Percival was even in that 2017 squad, but it's like the way that Watkins played and the way that Wayne Bennett played him in that England squad. Like
it really
that gives him more exposure, definitely.
But saying all that, I have picked Percival.
You've picked Percival, and I've obviously picked Watkins, which I think Percival's acceptable. They were definitely in my list. I think
you could go for either of them.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, no one's calling me a biased Leeds fan at this point. Otherwise, we'd have had Hardacre, Hall, and Watkins as our back three. But I've snubbed quite a few of them so far.
But I think it's just good. I think good pick. Like I think both acceptable picks. Number 4. Right, who have you gone with? Because I've been choosing the two that you've got.
You know I've gone for number 4, and you think it's a weird one.
Oh, I do. Oh,
you do. He doesn't like my pick for number 4.
I do like a good player, right? But the player I've picked for number 4, or even the two that he has just snubbed at 3, because at the end of the day, you can play 3 or 4.
Yeah, you can. So
he has picked, right, I'm going to let him tell you, because I don't know how he's picked this person.
I'm going to start with the guy who just missed out, and that's, again, continuing my lack of Leeds bias, Joe Moon.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Good player for Salford at the start of the decade. I think about 2012 he came over.
He really
gave a good couple of seasons there. Obviously moved to Leeds, did really well. Played a lot better at number 4 than 6.
What probably hurts him is the fact that he moved to number 6. That probably hurts me.
I've discounted that year because if I'm judging him as a centre, the same way I've kind of omitted the bit of 2010 Tompkins played as a halfback.
Yeah. That's fair enough. But I do think that, especially towards the end, that views him more as a standoff in people's eyes.
Yeah, I think he had a great partnership with Ryan Hall on that wing for Leeds. He did have a tendency to occasionally be a bit selfish with the ball and not always release it into the right positions. However, considering he replaced Zach Hardacre in that role, who wasn't really sure how to pass left at the time, it was still a lot more welcome than that. But the name I've gone for, Chris Weller.
The thing is, I actually really like Chris Weller, but like when he played for Bulls and everything, and I really like if we got Chris Weller on as a guest, I would love it. And like, I've no disrespect to Chris Weller.
Well, you've just disrespected him by saying he's a rubbish pick for team of the decade.
Right, you know what? If you are listening to this now, I want you to contact us on either Facebook, YouTube comments, Twitter, anything.
If you're another rugby player, feel free to get in touch as well. We don't just...
No, I'm not saying Chris Weller. I'm saying anyone who's commented, you tell me if you agree with that for Chris Weller.
I'm going to go through why.
Yeah, I want to hear why. Yeah.
Now, hopefully you've watched the last episode. If you haven't, go check it out. We did as one of our trivia questions the top 10 try scorers for... I can't remember what year it was now. Was it 20... It might have been 2011.
It was. The one I did for you was 2011.
There was one you did, and Chris Wellen was on that list, very high up.
I don't know if it was that one, but
it was definitely early on in the decade because there was like Pat Richards on there. So it was either 11 or 12.
Yeah, it might have been 11.
You know, he was consistent performer throughout his time. Okay.
Are you discounting that time down when he dropped down?
I've not. Yeah, for the purpose of this, is a Super League team of the decade. Yes. However, he did play well enough to get back into Super League.
Yeah, he did play really well for Bradford. I'll give him that.
He was in last year's grand final, which shows he's still cutting it at this level.
Yeah.
Even now. His try-scoring numbers are fantastic. I mean, I can't remember the ratio off the top of my head, but I looked and it was a lot better than I thought.
He knows how to score a try.
From what I've seen, he's never really been a weak defensive player that's been easy to break through.
No, he's
and I think if you're wanting someone that's going to do a job as your fantasy team of the decade, he would definitely not be the player that cost you a match.
I can definitely see why you've picked him.
Good.
I just don't know how you've picked him over like a Watkins personally, but that's me personally.
Because the only reason being Watkins has never played on that side.
Right,
and I know we're talking the centre's quite interchangeable because I'd say most of Wellham's career has been maybe more at 3 than 4.
Yeah. But I think the person I've picked, which you know of, that person's definitely played both sides.
Yes,
that is definitely one you could put, which is Michael Shenton.
The guy I snubbed last time.
Yeah, just because I think at Cass, first time round at Cass, amazing, and that earned him the move to, because Cass were a bit lower down at that point, so Saints were the bigger move.
He was, but not as much of that was in this decade. So you've got to be careful not to get too carried away with 2009.
Yeah, but
This is where it gets difficult at times.
and I still think he's made up for it back when he's been back at Castle. I don't think he's ever dropped below that level. I think he's he's probably one of the most consistent players in Super League.
I would argue, if I'd have maybe lowered my requirements slightly, the name I did consider first of all, that just missed out on not being here quite long enough, only 3 seasons, I would have said George Carmon.
Yeah.
Who was a very good player.
I can see that, yeah, but I can know the time-wise. And
it's difficult because he was the one at the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel a bit harsh not including him because he retired at a very good age. It's not like he left young.
Yeah.
However, at what point do you draw the line with that? I feel like you have to set a minimum number of years, and that's ultimately why he missed out on that shirt.
Which is fair. At least he's an honourable mention, isn't he? Like, you've given him that honourable mention.
It's not that he's probably ever going to hear this.
No. But
if you do,
pass it on. Make sure you're sharing it around to these players.
Yeah, tweet them.
Right.
Just spam the notifications.
Number 5.
The next winger. Right, I'm sorry, I'm going to kick off here. I'm now being Leeds biased. Ryan Hall's made my team of the decade.
It's exactly the same for me.
Good, I'm not being biased. I'll give a special mention to some of the others. Joe Burgess played very well at Wigan the first stint, come back doing the job again. Struggled a bit with injuries at times, which is kind of, but he's not let that get on top of him. Played okay in the NRL, so I've not taken that against him. Joe Monaghan, the other name mentioned.
Yeah.
It looked like he was starting to be a bit down and out at Warrington. Moved to Castleford, ended his career with a bit of a flourish.
Yeah, definitely. Or he could catch a high ball. And
he couldn't half.
That's what...
Him versus Ryan Hall in the air would be a very good contest. I bet they'd each win 50 out of 100 with them two.
Any other honourable mentions for wing? I know I've got one in my head for just
they
a
were
general
the main.
winger.
If this is Patrick Arvan again,
no, it's
I'm
not
walking
Patrick
straight
Arvan.
out of this room.
Lynham. You've got. I'm not. He was not going to be my team over Hall or McGilvery or even like a Charnley.
Has played number 2 at Warrington. Did play 5 at Hull FC. For me, his time at Hull FC was worse than that of Briscoe.
Yeah, but even like he's almost a player where you have to, for the longevity, I feel like he has to be in the discussion.
But then Briscoe broke through earlier, and he's not been.
Exactly.
So if we're going just on longevity,
but then I feel like
where's Aaron Murphy then?
Lynham's been better, in my opinion, than Briscoe since he's been at their current clubs in the last 3 years. 2 or 3 years. You have to. I feel like Lynham at Warrington has been good. Last
couple of years, yes. Briscoe at Leeds the first was a lot better than Lynham's first couple of years at Warrington.
I can see that. I think I just both mentioned they're never going to be in the team.
For me, Lynham is never going to have that game that Briscoe had in the 2017 final in the Challenge Cup against Kingston Rovers.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's a bit more... In broken play, I'd rather have Briscoe than Lynham.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. And
ultimately, I'd rather have Charnley and Hall, clearly.
Yeah, I'd rather have McGilvery and Charnley and Makinson and all them as well. But any things like Tom Johnston, or just the injuries of like now not played long enough in things. I think
he's been around long enough time-wise, however, hasn't really made consistent appearances, and that has sadly cost him.
I've got one that's a bit of a niche one. I'm thinking of these off the top of my head now, just ripping players out just to question you on them, because I think it's interesting. Ben Jones-Bishop. For longevity, at Leeds he was class, I thought.
He managed to dislodge Lee Smith at the start of the decade.
And then I think at Wakefield he's been consistent.
I think my problem, the reason I didn't consider him, dropped behind Tom Briscoe at Leeds.
Yeah,
left Leeds to go play full-back because he didn't want to be a winger.
Yeah, and now he's a winger.
And now he is. And now he's spent a good... They spent a lot of that time wearing number 1 and playing also at full-back, particularly... Before Wakefield had Hampshire or now Alex Walker.
Yeah, I can see.
For me, he's been a bit too hit and miss in those positions to really.
Yeah.
I also don't really think he's ever had that truly outstanding season that.
He's never really shone.
Some of the other names on this have had.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more now off the top of my head.
And if he has it in 2020, good on him.
Yeah. What about Craig Hall?
Spent too much time outside of the top flight, I think, with Toronto and Hull KR when they went down.
Yeah.
Actually, was he a part of that squad?
No, I don't think
was
he
at Toronto
but I
at
think
that
he
point?
Nah, he wasn't. Yeah, but he was still out of the league.
Either way, he wasn't in the league.
I'm trying to think of players.
And tends to have 2 good games a year, both of which against Leeds Rhinos. But
Same as everyone. I can't think of any more wingers. So
no, let's move on. We're getting very dangerous to just getting hung up on wingers. So on to number 6, the 5'8" for all our Aussie friends.
I've gone with Danny Maguire.
Record Super League try scorer. Won most grand finals out of any number 6 this decade.
Yeah,
Took over the mantle from Sinfield very well as captain. Led the team. Other mentions. Sinfield himself.
That's your pick. Well, I'll let you go.
These are my mentions. Sinfield played in the halves throughout this decade rather than 13. Therefore, I have considered him.
Yeah, I definitely considered him as an halfback.
Talking about longevity, Thomas Bosch carried Catalan for a number of years.
That's not an honourable mention of mine.
Slotted in very well alongside Carney, even when he wasn't great. Scott Giroux.
Yeah.
Dealt with a lot of changeover in that position.
Oh, yeah, and now he's still.
I think he probably played better than Richie Myler did that year than his last season at Catalan in 20. I want to say 17.
17, must be 16, 17.
Yeah, it must be because we signed him in 18 from Dragons.
Yeah.
But in the end, I did go for Sinfield.
Yeah.
Just over Maguire, who in fact was such an honourable mention. He's my first bench player of the episode.
Oh, yeah. So have you got a bench of 4?
So at my honourable mentions, I'm going to pick 4. Some of them I've not decided on yet.
Yeah,
so I'll be doing this off the cuff. But I decided Maguire had to be mentioned on the bench. Mostly for putting 5 past Bradford at Magic Weekend.
I think Maguire...
Remember that game?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Right, Maguire also, I think, obviously, was being magnificent at Leeds. Even in 2017, he must have been the... I can't think of what he's called now.
No,
Harry Sunderland.
Briscoe won it, I think.
Oh, did he? But Maguire...
I think Briscoe's last try won him it.
But I know Maguire was... I remember watching that game and Maguire was quality.
I'm going to check this now,
you can check that.
I'll let you do some more justifying of his time.
Yeah, well, Hull KR, that's what I was going to say. When he moved to Hull KR, he has still kept up that level. And he has kept Hull KR in the Super League.
Hull KR will miss him this year. And obviously he's gone at the end of
Hull KR replaced him with them.
They've replaced him with about 5 halfbacks, which says a lot.
So I definitely think he's got.
Yeah, he did win the Harry Sunderland.
Did he? Yeah, I'll write that then. I'm off with it. Well, I'm happy that sort of knew. I knew he'd played really well.
I must have been sat in the corner of Old Trafford saying, I think Briscoe probably has earned it, but I certainly wouldn't discourage Maguire.
Yeah. Number 7.
So this was a difficult one for me to pick. Largely because I forgot about a number of players.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of them ones where you just forget about. Because let's list off a number of number 7s who could win this, right? Luke Gale, Richie Myler. Right, that's contentious for you. But I think Richie Myler, for his longevity in the league and how he's kept up that.
He was good for large parts of the decade. He did very well at Warrington, faded at Catalan. He won Player of the Year at Leeds in 18, so he can't have been that bad. Didn't have a great season last year, but
he's always just been that.
He's been in Super League for the decade. He's been a starting scrum half for the most of that decade.
I think you've got to then look at your Lulawais who have been just consistent. I know he went back to NRL, but he's sort of been good. You've got Danny Brough as well. He's got to be Burrow. Even if you want to play Sinfield at 7, which I guess he did play a bit at 7, although Maguire at 7, you've got that sort Mark Sneed, exactly.
Great at Castleford.
There's definitely more that we're not whipping off at the top of his head.
The first name that came to mind, I was trying to think who was number 7 at the start of the decade. My brain literally went, Tommy Lulai, Danny Orr. Why did that name ever come into my head? Danny Orr. What a throwback.
You've definitely got options. Even at 6, we've missed Albert Kelly, who's been...
We've missed Rangic 7 at Hull KR, so could technically be considered
I think
Kelly.
the 6 and 7 is definitely interchangeable in a way. You've got... Hastings for... I know he's a year and a half, but how good Hastings has been. I'm not saying he is there, but I'm saying...
Quality-wise, definitely. Longevity, misses out on that factor.
Yeah, definitely. And then you got even
same with Blake Austin.
Even a George Williams could be in this conversation roughly.
Don't think he's.
You've got
team of the decade.
No, I'm not. He's not even. It's not a memorable mention. I'm just naming halfbacks that you could make an argument.
So who have you gone for out of them?
I have gone with Luke Gale.
Interesting. I've gone for a name that we've not mentioned at all. Luke Gale, Rhinos player now.
Yeah, he's been around.
He has been around. I've gone for a man who hasn't been around as much, Danny Brough. We mentioned him talking about McGilvray earlier as being a key part of Huddersfield. I always felt with Huddersfield, you never could write them off because of Brough's kicking.
Yeah, definitely.
He was what kept them in games. Regardless of whether they could end up doing the job or not, he kept them there. And don't forget that drop goal that was very contentious against St Helens in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Did it quite go over if you extend the post upwards or not? I think they gave it in the end. Yeah. And that's what won them the match, if I remember right.
They've got to give them, I think, though. But that's a whole different discussion.
That's a whole different matter. But match winner. There we go. That's my point. He was a match winner for Huddersfield. Literally.
And he has been for Wakefield as well, I would say.
Yeah.
I know
he missed a lot of last season with injury. But
he's come back well, I think, a lot. Like, he's just been... I can understand. Brough would definitely my number 2. But I went with Gale, because obviously he's played for 4 teams this decade. Can you name all 4 of them?
Bradford, Castleford, Leeds. He went somewhere in between. Where did he end up now?
Did he go to this team before Bradford or in between Bradford and Castleford? Did he go straight to Castleford or Bradford? Because I can't remember.
What's your other team? Because I've completely gone blank.
I'm looking.
London. I don't remember this one.
You get on the Google.
I'll get on the Google. This is literally
I'm going to justify him anyway because he doesn't really inform.
Yeah, you carry on
justifying
obviously,
while I check. Played amazingly at Cass. Won Man of Steel 2017.
He didn't go to London. He went to Harlequins.
Oh, that is London.
It was before Bradford, 09 to 11.
And then he went straight to Cass from Bradford.
Yeah.
When Bradford went down.
And then went to Leeds for this decade.
Leeds, obviously, yeah. But that's... Yeah, I'm right then, aren't I, really?
Yeah, alright, I'll give you it.
So, obviously, he's got his move at Bradford. I remember him being one of Bradford's best players for them couple of years he was there before we got relegated. Exactly. At the time, we were really poor anyway, so he was good there. And he's moved to Castleford to stay in Super League, and he's been really well for Castleford. Yeah. Man of Steel winner 2017, if I'm not right.
Yep, England bottle job 2017.
I don't know.
I like Luke Gale as a player.
So I think, but
I can't deny he did go
I think he'll do well at Leeds as well. I just think he's been good for Cass, obviously.
I hope so.
Missed him a bit last year in league with him being injured, but I think good luck to him going forward. I think 70s are really hard because there's a lot of players that are not world class, but they're...
Seven's been a tough one.
Yeah, seven's
year.
Probably the hardest position to pick.
It's worth noting my honourable mentions here. Luluai excluded mostly because of his time away.
Yeah.
And Burrow excluded because a large part of that was played at hooker.
Yeah.
Worth noting, last point on Gale, looked very, very match sharp against Wakefield on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Which was really
I think he'll be good for it. I think
he'll slot right back in. He won't look like he's missed a whole year.
Yeah, and I think he'll be good. I think he's got a lot to prove as well.
He has, I think he's hungry.
Yeah.
Which is good. Moving on to the props then.
Yeah, I'll go in 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, we will do. Number 8. So, 3 names came to mind here. Kylie Luluai, most successful overseas import into the Super League.
Yeah. But alright, go on. Well, I'll just read yours out and then
Big prop throughout Leeds' success. Heavily missed in 2016 onwards when our packs looked a little lighter.
Yeah.
Ben Flower. Very good prop on his day.
Yeah. I agree.
You have to question whether, a bit like Hardacre, is costing your team a grand final directly worthy of being excluded for this?
I mean, that
punch on Hahaya when he was on the floor was honestly... I cringe looking back. I was in the Wigan end that day, I think.
I was watching it on telly, I remember.
I was there. I was in the Wigan end. I was actually cheering Wigan to win that one, would you believe? And then he went and did that after 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, this is St Helens winning then. And sure enough, that's how it played out. I did like that purple and black checkered kit.
Yeah, that was a nice kit, actually.
Anyway, that's very sad.
Bring it back, Wigan. Bring it back.
And Chris Hill. Occasionally quite overrated, but definitely a good prop.
Yeah.
Been around for most of the decade, even if injuries have robbed him of a bit of time. Now, on my note here, I've got Hill as my starting prop, but I'm going to do a last-minute change and I'm bringing Kylie Luluai onto the field.
Kylie Luluai,
I've taught myself around.
I obviously thought about all of them, especially Luluai, but I just didn't quite... I think the player I picked, you have missed out completely, right?
I've got him as a number 10. But go on.
Should we read out your number 10? Just so. Should we do it out like Nah, 8 and 10 together.
Okay, I'll do
just
that.
so we have the props
So in
together.
terms of who I've got from 10, 2 titans of the game, Jamie Peacock and Adrian Morley.
Alright, you haven't got you. I ain't got either of them, mate.
Okay, interesting.
You thought I'd have. Are you alright? So I'll go with my 8. So obviously,
Yeah, I'll talk through those after.
I thought of the all same people as you, but then one person I just thought, you know what, I'm putting him above. Because I thought Chris Hill's been class, but Remy Casti.
I did look at Remy Casti.
You can't deny it.
And I was thinking, all the times when I was looking at that team that's got Thomas Bosch in it had Scott Drew. Remy Casti was a constant. Spent a bit of time in the NRL, which, am I right in thinking he's the first French player to play NRL?
I would imagine so.
I can't think of any others. If there were any other French players to play NRL, drop them in the comments when we share this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever.
Yeah. We're speaking pure French, not like French heritage who plays for French.
Pure French.
Pure French, which is Remy Casti. And I think you've got to accept, you've got to appreciate what he has done for Super League and Catalan especially. French rugby especially.
Definitely.
That's what's giving.
There's one thing I really don't like about his game that's I think has made it to a point where I've excluded him because I can't stand it. Whenever anyone hits him remotely around from about above his chest upwards, there's always the head flying back to try and win the penalty. And I think that alone is why I cannot stand putting him in the team. It's very good match awareness. And I'll tell you, when he hangs up the boots, he's got a bloody good career in acting going with performances like that. Him and Tony Gigo will be a right double act for them two.
But Remy Casti, I just think longevity
good shout.
Class for Catalan. So then we'll go number 2.
We'll go 10. We've mentioned Peacock and Morley. Peacock, another good decade, even if arguably his peak maybe was towards the end of the last one. I think he completely reinvented himself again.
Yeah.
The sidestep against St Helens alone is enough to get him nominated. We talk about great rugby league moments of the decade. That's got to be one of the tries of the decade, just because it's him. And Adrian Morley, definitely a name for last decade. He played very well at Warrington. His year at Salford was actually really good. He had great leadership skills to command them around the park. And again, a bit like Peacock, despite his age, despite his body maybe not being up to quite as big hits as it was 5 years ago, he never let the team down. He always put in a shift. I did go for Peacock out of the two of them, mostly because of success, being able to play that a little bit longer.
Yeah, that little bit longer did edge it for me.
If you talk about me who was the better player overall, I think it's a much closer contest. But for this decade, I'd say Peacock had the better one than Morley.
These two, I think we'll both agree on this. For 2000 to 2009, these are the two props in this that team at decade.
I can't think of anyone else right now.
I can think of a couple of Stuart Fielding.
If I looked into it, I'd find a few names to contest with. But off the top of my head,
you've got a lot of old props maybe we didn't see play as much as
you can argue maybe there's still a case for Luluai who came over, who's had a typical 05 to 15 career.
Where he probably don't fit in either.
You can argue him very well on both halves, but if we were talking 2000 to 2020, those two would undoubtedly be starting props.
Definitely.
So who have you gone for at 10?
I'll go for Peacock as well.
We've both gone Peacock.
Yeah, we've both gone Peacock. I think for the same reasons you have. I think Peacock is probably the best prop to ever play Super League.
Let's move into the hookers because I'm aware this is already quite a long video.
I know, but I want to just say
this is quite one to talk about.
James Graham.
Great shout. Spent too much time in the NRL.
He's a typical, exactly like you said, 2005 to 2015. Well, probably they're not the exact times, but that's what he played in Super League, and then he went to NRL.
He probably didn't play enough last decade compared to those two to get a feature.
Yeah.
Plus if we're doing a team of best overseas players to play NRL, Morley and Graham are your starting props, I'd say.
Oh yeah, definitely.
However, speaking of English players to play NRL, that leads me on to the first shortlist on my hooker. What a segue that was. Smooth operator. Josh Hodgson was the first name that came to mind.
Name?
One of.
Yeah.
Largely because at the time I thought of this, I was actually playing the Rugby League PlayStation game and he was in my team at the time. So as he scooted from dummy half, that was the first hooker that was in my brain at the point. maybe that more than in terms of the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Obvious choice. Very questionable if he was in Super League long enough, but he's absolutely tearing it up in the NRL. Okay, didn't have the best time for Great Britain. I know a lot of people are wondering whether he's past it or as good as James Roby, who I think... I'm going to say now, I think we've both picked James Roby.
I think you see everyone's team of the decades on Facebook, Twitter. The only one constant is James Roby.
Yeah.
Realistically,
you can argue the whole wingers for days because there's so many
props, there's so many halfback combinations, there's so many centres, fullbacks.
But James Roby has done it throughout the entire decade,
and he's been
probably
the
highest
best to
standard.
do it.
And his loyalty to St Helens, rather than going and trying NRL, where he could have definitely done it.
He'd have broken.
I think the only other name that even comes close is Danny Houghton.
Yeah, I've got another couple. Remember, in terms of honourable mentions,
I did also have Paul Ayton tucked in my list as a real left field shout.
I think I've gone with honourable mentions. Obviously, I've got Houghton, and I think we both have Houghton as well.
Danny Houghton was my second choice.
Darryl Clark, personally, I think for what he did at Cass and then moved to Warrington, he's just been great. I know Matt might not agree with me, but I think he's been great.
He's a good player, don't get me wrong. I think his best rugby was at Castleford. I don't think I've ever quite seen the same player at Warrington.
Although I think he stepped up. I think he almost...
The last couple of years has improved.
Yeah, and then I've got Paul McShane, which Matt
was
also
not
disagreed.
in my discussion, I'll be honest. Because
but I think
the reason I left Paul McShane out, very briefly, links right back to why I've got Paul Ayton.
Yeah.
I don't think McShane didn't really make a big impact at Leeds prior to leaving for Wakefield. Swapped with Paul Ayton. I would argue Leeds got the better end of that deal at the time.
Yeah.
McShane at Castleford has played a lot better, however, poor disciplinary record.
Yeah.
He does... If things don't go his way, he becomes a bit of a thug on the pitch, which...
Yeah, it's not ideal.
As much as it can work for you in inspiring that fight from your team, he gets a card, that's instant collapse of the team, potentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas James Roby has that skill to change games without resorting to that.
Yeah, I think Roby's a different class though, isn't it?
I think as well, he's played 3 seasons of good rugby. I think Matt Parcell just missed out on timing more than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Electric in 17.
I think I've got another one which we'll both
Go
agree
on.
on as a good honourable mention. I'll just mention...
If you say Bofaloon.
No. Friend of the podcast... Potential future guest Sean Lunn.
Sean Lunn.
I think he deserves a mention. I honestly
think he's a good shout. Yeah.
I think he's
Grand final winner, league leaders, Shield winner.
He's played well wherever
throughout the decade.
He's always given it. Injuries probably held him back at some places, and I think now we'll whip it up.
Yeah.
That's all. I just want to get that in there just so he likes us a bit more.
Just in case he's listening. Not like buttering them up. No, Sean Lunn is a great player. However, I think when you're looking at James Roby, Danny Houghton, the nature of is it Lance Todd Trophy for the Challenge Cup, the grand final winners rings, is ultimately what
they're in a different
sets
league.
It apart. Yeah.
So I'm going second row.
We'll go on to the second row.
11 and then 12
I think combine them.
Combine, yeah. I'll let you list through your shots.
So the 2 I've gone for...
I'm going to look at mine actually quickly.
The 2 that I've started are a pair of former Bradford players.
Oh, we all know who these are.
John Bateman and Elliot Whitehead.
Yeah,
Whitehead arguably could have featured at 13 as well.
Yeah.
However, I've put him in at 12 here. Other names that came to mind, John Wilkin. I feel like I'd get a lot of hate if I didn't mention John Wilkin.
John Wilkin definitely got to be a mention.
For me, again, he played better the very start of this decade, last decade. And whilst he's definitely here on longevity, I don't think we had as much of his elite rugby this decade.
Yeah, definitely.
Jamie Jones Buchanan, again, longevity. For me, though, very much 2000 to 09 player. The start of the decade struggled a lot with injuries. I think me and a lot of Leeds fans towards the end of 2013 thought after another long-term injury he was washed up.
Yeah.
And the fact he's done 20 years is a testament to the work ethic and the recovery and fitness of him.
Definitely.
However, he was at times a bit too penalty happy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't at his peak. It's fair to say.
Yeah, I can accept that.
Liam Farrell,
Definitely.
who is, again, my second honourable bench mention.
Oh, really?
Very consistent for Wigan. I think has been one of the standout second rowers in a number of seasons. And, of course, has been around in Super League a lot longer than the two that I've selected to start. So I would argue it's very harsh to not be included in this. The other name I've got down here, Wella Howraki. Again, longevity.
Longevity for that.
Crusaders, did a job at Leeds. Well, I'm going to struggle to list all his clubs here, but Castleford, Widnes, Hull KR.
Salford.
Yeah. Never really let any of them down.
No, definitely not. So, who's your two then?
So I have gone Bateman and Whitehead.
Bateman
However,
and
I'm now thinking I should have put Farrell in there over somebody.
I've gone with that same shortlist, would you say? As well as Ben
It's
Westwood.
quite a long list.
Ben Westwood, I think.
Yeah, Ben Westwood.
Same reasons as like Jones Buchanan.
For me, very much a JJB style player.
Yeah.
I've kind of, for the sake of having somebody to compete elsewhere, I've put him as a shortlist of 13.
Yeah.
Because I needed to find someone else to talk about when there is one and obvious name for that position that we've both gone for. But
so my 11 and 12 are, I've gone with John Bateman.
Yeah.
One of them, which I think we spoke about the reasons, but I also thought it was between Whitehead and like a Jamie Jones Buchanan just for longevity and quality sort of thing. I thought a player like that deserved to be in, but then I thought Whitehead, I think he's given his best at the NRL, even though he was amazing
at
Catalan. He was amazing at Catalan, but I think he's also left. Like Bateman left at the end of the decade,
I think
whereas
with
Whitehead left.
He gave his best at Catalan, however, been playing around better players has allowed him to reach that new level.
Which I think that
I don't
is
think he'd
literally
have got
so
there if he'd have
close.
stayed in Super League.
He is so close for me, but I think he's quality. But I've gone with Bateman just because he stayed in Super League that little bit longer than Whitehead. Bateman and James Jones Buchanan.
You've gone JJB.
Yeah.
Very good shout. And 13, I'm just going to mention one name, Sean O'Loughlin.
Sean O'Loughlin, I think we both got him, haven't we?
I'm going to throw a couple of names here at Westwood for the sake of having some competition, but more of a second rower. Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook played for the full decade.
Ben Westerman.
Doing the capital proud in terms
Joe
of...
Westerman. Oh, I said Ben Westerman. I had
Joe Westerman, you mean?
Mix on Ben... I had Ben Westwood because you said Ben Westwood. I would mix on Ben Westwood and Joe Westerman.
Ben Westerman, whoever he is apparently a Super League team of the decade
If you
player.
put Joe Westerman and Ben Westwood together, you've got a right player on your hands, haven't you?
I mean, you've got a very weird looking...
But yeah, Joe Westerman has got to be a mention for me as well. And Wilkin at 13 is
I
probably
think for me, Westerman is a bit of a poor man's McCarthy-Scarsbrook.
I think different plays in a way, but I can see what you mean. I don't think there's many other sort of options really.
No, I think 13 is, even with the injuries, Sean O'Loughlin. It's a bit like 7, one of those players where there's been so many different players play it, and as well because different clubs have different concepts of what to do with a 13.
Yeah, and I think O'Loughlin sort of does a bit of everything.
O'Loughlin's the traditional, very good ball handler. He's a great pivot.
Yeah, a bit like Wilkin. I think Wilkin should be more an honourable mention for 13.
Maybe so.
And he's probably the backup for that then, I would say.
Yeah, maybe. I think, however, now you get some teams that use them as third props.
Yeah.
And it kind of really makes it difficult to pick a standout player because for those teams, they can tend to just shuffle the pack around anywhere.
Yeah, you could play anyone at 13 essentially. At 13 is literally it's a position where anyone.
You had Sinfield play there, who was effectively a third half back at the last decade.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So that made that difficult.
It's got to be O'Loughlin, hasn't it?
In terms of filling up my last two bench players, then out of the honourable mentions I've suggested, so we've got Danny Maguire, we've got Liam Farrell. I think Joe Moon probably is a fair shout.
I'm going to think of my bench now. I'll let you talk about yours.
And I'm going to go for Adrian Morley. Maybe more of a legacy pick than anything else. I mean, I could have a 6-7 man bench if this is a pre-season friendly because all the honourable mentions are exactly that.
Yeah.
They all have a good argument.
I'm going to go with honourable. My bench should be Houghton.
Yep.
Josh Chandler.
Yep.
That's missed off mine. Whitehead. You know what? I'm going to throw John Wilkin in there.
You're going to throw John Wilkin?
I think, they're just the four that I think I'm going to look at and miss out.
Yeah.
You could probably put Brough in my... Yeah, I could just keep going.
You could just go, I could have put a number of those in, yeah. But, so, that was quite a long section, but I think we did that in a good amount of time. 45 minutes for us is quite good for that. That is, to be fair, we could have blabbed on for nearly 2 hours other times.
Also, I'm so happy. I've just realised now that I'll just let you know we have changed camera now, so we don't have to.
Oh yeah, we don't have to have a break
every
anymore.
20 minutes because we've gone for it. We had probably a more expensive camera, but it was more for photos and not videos. Which this is. Which
if you're listening to this on Spotify, you don't give a shit about what you're using.
If you care, this is saving me a whole lot of editing. That's all I'm going to say.
If you are listening on Spotify and you are thinking, what the hell are you on about?
Just jump over to
come
video.
check us out elsewhere. Listen twice. Just bump our views up. Make us look better than we are.
So we're going to do a bit of, as it's
now become tradition, trivia time.
But we're going to do decade-based trivia.
You know what? Task for you to edit. You're going to have to edit a separate little sub-intro jingle thing for trivia.
All right, then.
There you go.
I'll try and get that in if I remember.
I mean, I've set it this episode, so you've got a week to think of it before next one comes out.
True. So, I'll let you go first, Rio.
Am I going first?
How many trivia questions have you got?
I've gone for 3 trivia questions.
Yeah, I've got 2.
All decade themed.
So, I've got 2, so we'll go you, me. You.
All right.
Yeah, and then you'll start.
I'll start with my quick fire then, which is going to take a bit of thinking about. How many teams have won a major piece of silverware, so Super League, Challenge Cup, or League Leaders Shield this decade? You're not going to talk through your thoughts, so they don't all get bored waiting for you.
Right, so you're looking at, in terms of, we're going to go for teams who've won league leaders.
Okay, that's not where I thought you'd start, but okay, I was expecting you to start grand finals.
No, because I think, right, so I'm going to go league leaders, so you got like a CAS.
Right.
A CAS, Saints, Leeds have probably won it at some point. I know Huddersfield.
We won a treble in 2015, of course we've won
but Leeds are on it without me even thinking Leeds.
Exactly, that's why I wouldn't have given you that information if I thought it were a difficult one to get.
CAS, Leeds, Saints, Wigan, Warrington, Huddersfield, that's 6. Am I naming the teams, or is it name the teams or how many teams?
I mean, I wonder how many, but talk through your thoughts properly.
So there's 7 there. Am I right? Wait. Warrington, Wigan, St Helens, Leeds, Huddersfield.
He's forgotten what he's just said.
Leeds, Castleford, St Helens, Wigan, Warrington, Huddersfield, Hull FC.
Oh God. Are we still league leaders here?
No.
Something else
This is just a match. Catalan.
Right.
That's 8.
Okay.
I feel like I'm missing one more. No.
So you're going to guess 9 if you think you're missing one?
8. No,
going 8.
I'm thinking about who else has won all. It is 8, isn't it?
It is 8.
Yeah, it is 8.
It is 8. You got them all. I was doing this one earlier. I'm like, I better check I've not missed someone, and I forgot about Catalan.
Yeah.
No offence, you're easy to forget Catalan.
Yeah, that cup win were quite
It was a great win.
It was a great win.
I was at the semi-final double-header waving my Catalan flag throughout that game, and then I wished I hadn't bothered when Leeds got trounced by Warrington.
Yeah.
But we were crap.
Right, I better get one.
You better get yours out.
Hey up.
We might have under 18s listening to this podcast. Behave. Considering before we started recording, the very first sentence we had was, right, I better pull out first.
I meant pull the audio thing out, right?
Well, I meant get the question ready. So get your phone out for the questions.
I'm going to go with a game, right?
Oh, we're starting with the game.
The first game of the decade.
Oh, bloody hell.
Who played the first game of the decade?
I've no idea.
I'll tell you. So, the first game of the decade was played on January the 29th, a Friday night, in the snow. Who played?
Are we saying 11 or 10?
2010.
I remember Castleford Salford in the snow, but I feel that were a few years later.
Leeds Rhinos, Crusaders.
Oh God, have I got to try and remember Crusaders players from 2010?
The final score was...
I don't remember Crusaders players anyway.
34-6.
Oh God.
Right.
Is it a Crusaders player I'm going to know, is my first question.
Yes. I can give you clues for it. You probably won't guess
Richie Moore.
No, well...
Wellahal Raki.
Right, so we're going... So there's 5 Leeds try scorers.
Okay.
No, there is 5, but one scored twice.
Right, okay, so 4 players I've got to get.
Yeah, I mean, you can guess which player scored twice, and then 1 player, obviously.
Right, I'm going to need a clue on this Crusaders, I think.
Go with Leeds first, then.
Okay, so again, makes sense, just go through the team. Brent Webb.
No. Webb
Lee Smith.
I'll just let you know, Webb was not playing. Your fullback didn't score, so I'll tell you, Watkins.
Really? I wouldn't have expected that. Lee Smith.
Also didn't play.
Ben Jones-Bishop.
Also didn't play. We're talking 2010 here. Ben Jones.
Yeah. Ben
No,
Jones
it's not. You
Bishop
think
broke through around this time.
Yeah.
Lee Smith was just
but I
back
think
from
it's
uni.
I think it's the first game of the season though, so it's probably your best possible team essentially.
Scott Donald? No.
Yeah.
Is it 2010 he retired?
Well, I thought
Well,
it was probably about 2012 on it. I thought. Well, he scored anyway, and he played. He were you two.
He did.
He was playing.
I remember setting the thing up now for the 2011 Rhinos video, and I remember Scott Donald leaving. Now I've said it.
Yeah, Donald
I thought it was
scored.
09 in my head there.
The other four you should really.
Ryan
get.
Hall.
No, he did play though. He were your number 5.
Thanks. Keith Senior.
He did play, but no.
Who was our other centre at the time? Brett Delaney?
Yeah, and he scored as well. So you need 3 more.
Danny Maguire.
Yeah.
Rob Burrow.
No.
Kevin Sinfield.
Yeah. You've got the player you've got to get scored twice.
Okay.
I feel like he'll have slipped through your
Kyle Ablett. He always seems to be
He
one that's
played,
on there.
but no. The player who played it were actually an interchange. I'll read out you the starting 13.
No, don't bother. Let me have a few more guesses
alright.
first. Because I think I've still got some more of the squad I can get. So I've got
There's
the back 5. I've covered the halves off. Hooker, Danny Baderas.
It's not Danny Baderas,
Matt
but he did
Diskin.
play. Matt Diskin were on the bench.
So, but he's not that interchange.
No.
Props, Jamie Peacock.
Didn't play.
Really? God, who have a prop then? Luluai.
Yeah, but he didn't. He did play.
Ali
but he's not-
Lauatiti.
Ali Lauatiti. He won't bench. That's the player who scored twice.
He's scored twice.
Yeah.
So I've got one more to get.
Thought you've just got the thingy player to get.
Oh, the Crusaders
Yeah.
play. Oh, bloody hell.
In terms of John, you got Watkins, Donald, Delaney Senior, Hall, Maguire, Burrow, Luluai, Baderas, Ryan Bailey, Jones, Buchanan, Ablett, Sinfield. Then up bench you got Lauatiti, Diskin, Eastwood, and Kirk.
Oh my God, Greg Eastwood played for us that year. I'd forgotten about that.
I'll give you a clue.
Yeah, I'm going to need a clue on this Crusaders player.
This player is a winger who has played for a multitude of clubs in Super League.
Elliot Keir.
No,
No, that was a good guess.
he's not Welsh.
We didn't say that until after I said
No,
it.
but that's a clue now because you were going. You were
I
in the
mean,
Welsh
Crusaders are a
direction.
Welsh club.
Yeah,
that was a
but
very
that's what I'm
good
saying.
guess.
He's not. He didn't play, did he?
Oh God,
Keir, I don't think.
he might not have done.
I've got it cut. The screenshot I took is cut off the back line.
Crusaders wingers that have bobbed around.
But I don't think of him as. I did not even know he played for Crusaders since
Alright.
I've seen this.
Where will I know him?
You'll
from?
know him from. He's played for Bradford, but you probably won't know him from that. Like towards the end of Bradford Super League, didn't he? Played for Hull FC. He's probably
Well,
one
with
you
Gallagher,
know.
I don't know who Paul Sykes is.
Hull FC probably your best bet. I can't think of other teams. He might have even played
Steve
at Leeds at the
Michaels,
right start. I've got a feeling that he's got a thing up at Stanley.
Oh
And it's
God,
No, but I'm putting someone else in your head now. I think
I don't think you are. You're not putting anyone in my head. Hull FC wingers from start.
GR.
Oh, that's confused me even more now. I'm about to say Will Sharp.
No. GR.
GR. Hull FC.
I could probably tell you his first name, and you went Gareth.
Gareth Gr.
No, Gareth Ruh. So
Oh, Rayner?
yeah, Gareth Rayner.
There you go. I'm impressed I pulled that one out of the back of
Yeah,
my mind
you needed a
myself.
bit of help though. But to be
I
fair,
would not have got that
I wouldn't have got it
otherwise.
otherwise. To be fair, I wouldn't have. That's it.
Okay, so going on to your game, I've gone for... Now, I hope I'm not wrong on this, but to my mind, this is the biggest winning margin in Super League this decade. I want the try scorers from Warrington's 80-0 demolition of Wakefield on the 11th of April 2015.
I remember this. I think. Well, has it not been like an 82-0 something like that? There might have been, but this is. I get what you're saying. Warrington against Wigan, against Wakey.
Yeah.
So all Warrington.
All Warrington.
So you.
3 players scored twice, 1 player scored a hat-trick, try scorers, and, well...
How many try scorers are there?
2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 players
Right.
to
So
get.
Ryan Atkins,
No.
Josh Charlie. No, Charlie don't play now.
Charlie wasn't
I'm
there.
all over the guy. Monaghan.
Yes, once.
He only scored once. So that's
Yeah.
right. So who scored 3 times then? Hicks and Bridge, they were gone.
They were gone.
That's a really.
I can give you a very good clue for who scored the hat-trick.
That's a really niche time for it. Isn't it?
It is.
Paul Wood.
Nope. There's one here I'm thinking
Hill.
you're never going to
Hill.
get. Nope.
Kevin Penny.
No. Another Warrington
Chris-
meme winger.
Reece Evans.
No. I
Chris
think
Riley.
you've forgotten about
Chris
this guy.
Riley.
No. I think you'll have forgotten this fella. He's
Peter
like the
Nicky.
same level of niche as what Luke George used to be at Huddersfield. Like that level of really random.
Is that not Kevin Penny?
No, someone else. They had
Wait,
another one.
can I just say like Rashford?
Yeah, Rashford got one. Did you say Rashford then? Marcus Rashford did not. Rashford scored one and kicked 12.
Myler
got the hat trick. This is what I mean. Myler at Warrington is a very good shout.
Breers had gone by then.
Breers had gone, yeah.
Who's a 6 then?
I'm not telling you because they scored twice. You've mentioned one of the names for a different position in your team of the decade as an honourable mention.
Darryl Clark?
Yep.
Chris Hill?
Nope, you said it.
No, I've said him on. I'm just really late.
Think of another prop.
Kurt Gidley, were you on? He probably was. That'll probably.
I don't think he was.
He might have come season after.
I think, yeah.
Mike Cooper?
Nope.
Nah, he wasn't there. Ashton Sims?
Yeah,
Got to be one.
Got one.
Who were off at bench for them in terms of props and Ben Westwood definitely.
Yep, he got one. You're looking for a second rower who scored twice. The number
Curry? No,
yep.
he can't. Oh, what Curry?
Yep.
Curry scored twice.
Yep.
How many do I need now?
2 more. One of them I think you'll struggle to get. This one.
Which is the niche winger? Which is the niche player that he said I won't get over?
One of these.
And who scored twice?
Both of them.
But is one of them the one I've already mentioned?
No.
Oh, well, that Westwood.
The 2 you've got to get have both scored twice.
What positions?
I assume one played 6, and the other one's this niche winger.
He's a niche winger. So he's not Peter Fox?
No.
Mitch Clark? No, he won't. No, Mitch Clark. I meant Mitch Brown, not Mitch
Clark, the guy that signed to Wigan from Castle with the big prop.
He played for Bradford that year as well.
It's worse than Marcus Rashford.
How many years has he played in Super League? How niche is niche?
Oh, God. I'm pretty sure he rocked up at Huddersfield for a time afterwards.
That helps, doesn't it? He's not Kevin Penny.
He plays in the Championship now at the ripe old age of 27.
For which team?
Barrow.
So he's played in League One now?
Potentially.
Oh, who is that guy? I know who you mean now.
Do you want to try and get the other half?
Dan Tull. No. Not him. He does play for Barrow.
Do you want to try and get the other half back?
Well, I know
his
him.
brother's gone to Wakefield this year and got injured on Boxing Day.
Wood?
No, there's 2 of them. The Warrington have kept. I remember when it was signed, Warrington have kept the good one and Wakefield signed the shit one, apparently, according to the fans.
Brothers? Am I really missing something?
Do I have to give you an even more obvious clue?
Wait, but so were they both at Warrington and then one's left?
Yes.
Brothers.
So
both
when Elizabeth dies, Charles is going to become what?
King.
Yes.
Oh,
God, that was painful. Do you want this niche winger?
George King.
I assume it's George and not Toby, but I don't know for sure.
Toby's younger. It's got to be George.
Yeah.
It's got to be George.
I thought
he would have played 6.
It's Toby that's the 6, isn't it?
Toby's a 6 or 4 or centre.
George is.
Have you not got the lineup there, or is it just a try scorers?
I've just got try scorers. It just says King 2. So when I'm trying to think 5 years.
Could even be Matt King.
That's a bit after this time.
So a winger who plays for Barrow.
You might want me to just tell you this. I don't.
Nah, give me some initials or something. Like
G-O.
Oh, Gene Ormsby.
Yeah.
Oh my God! As soon as you said that, I knew it. Right.
What a niche player he is, Gene Ormsby.
I don't think of him playing for Warrington, so I think of him playing for Bradford.
He's another Kevin Penny sort of winger, isn't he? You know exactly what I mean when I say that.
When we were in one of the years we were in Championship, or he might have been in League One and he was playing for some team.
I think Swinton one.
It might have been someone like, no, but I feel like he was even on someone from Dual Reg in like 2016, and we had Omari Cow and everyone called him a fake Omari Cow. He just I remember a chant like that from Bulls fans. But anyway, it's on to mine, isn't it?
Yes, second question.
So this is a top 20.
I'll be careful how I word this now, considering you're just going to make inappropriate connotations.
So we've got the top 20 Super League try scorers of the last decade.
Oh my God, this is awful. Right, so this should in theory...
Wait, actually, let me just because I want to tick them off.
Okay, you're getting your highlighter out or whatever on the edit thing.
If it lets me. I don't know if it'll let me. Alright, well.
The next decade by the time you've worked this out.
Right, let's go.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Right, let's start obvious. Ryan Hall.
Yep, number 3.
Number 3. Danny Maguire.
Yes. I don't know what number because I'm not numbered, but yeah.
Right.
He's in there.
Brilliant.
He's
Josh
down.
Chandler.
Yes.
Sam Tompkins.
Yes.
Justin Carney.
No.
That might be a bit more of an outside shout, that one.
Yeah.
Rob Burrow.
No.
Darryl Clark.
No.
James Rowe. But you can tell I'm trying to cover off the bottom end of this first.
No.
Because I feel like these players at the bottom are going to be high. It's probably going to be made up mostly of wingers.
Pretty much by the looks of it.
Or maybe the odd centre.
He's looking like a lot of wingers, to be fair to me.
Not even centre. Tommy Makinson's got to be on there.
Yes.
Zach Hardacre.
Yes, wherever he is, I've seen him. No. No.
Well, is he or not?
No.
Right, okay, that was heavy going. His drugs bans have cost him then.
You need to just stop overthinking it. Get some out of the way.
Yeah, let's just get Ryan Atkins.
Yeah.
Joe Burgess.
No, he's number 21.
Oh, right, that was a close guess then. My best mate, Adi Gardiner from last episode.
No. You're missing a massive one off who's number 2.
Oh, no, I'm trying to think more obscure yet. Ben Jones-Bishop on there?
Yep, he's number like 7 or something. He's in that area.
He should be on there, I'd have thought. And any clubs that have gone down that have... So Chris Wellham.
Chris Wellham is on there.
See, this is why he's in Team of the Decade. Callum Watkins.
Yep.
Yep. Tom Briscoe.
Yep.
So I was trying to think what I've said. Jermaine McGilvery's going to be on there.
He's the number 2, yeah.
Have I got number 1 yet?
You've got one. It goes Charlie McGilvery, Hall, Atkins, Blank, Tompkins, Ben Jones, Bishop, Briscoe,
So it's a
Makinson,
big name
Blank,
then,
Watkins,
between Tompkins and...
Tompkins. No, it's in between Atkins and Tompkins. It's a player you've already mentioned on this. It was in your team. It was an honourable mention for your team of the decade.
Oh, right. Joe Monaghan?
Yep.
Yep, that makes sense.
So you're looking.
Who was my other winger I had as my honourable mention?
You've got 1, 2, you've got. I'm counting how many players you have to get. You got 1.
Joe Burgess. I don't think he's been around long.
You already said Joe Burgess, but I said he's number 21. So you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to get.
8 to get.
There's an halfback or 2.
Okay, so a couple of halfbacks that are pretty good at trying.
We've mentioned an halfback.
Johnny Lomax.
He's on there.
Yep. George Williams.
Nope.
Might not have been around long enough. Patrick Arvan.
No.
I'll
give you a clue here. There's a Patrick on there.
It's not going to be Pat Richards. In 3 years, it's not going to be Pat Richards, is it?
I mean,
is it actually Pat Richards?
Number 19, Pat Richards.
In 3 years?
92 tries.
Oh, mind you know that's 3 years at Wigan. He did go to Catalan.
Yeah, that's
so that
true.
makes a bit more sense.
Plus, 92 tries in 3 years is actually like an average try number. Like it's 30 tries, isn't it?
Oh, goodness sakes. Greg Eden?
Yep.
God, he really did have a good season.
He's on 102.
Really?
Yeah. So you've got a winger. Well, you got 2.
Lots of wingers.
You got a few wingers. You got 5.
I'm trying to think of wingers at the start of the decade, and the only name that's in my head is Nick Bloody Youngquest, who is definitely not on the. God,
how did you? You didn't even guess him, and he was playing for Crusaders in that game. We only player on you.
Oh,
you didn't
right.
even guess him in that game.
I thought he were at Castleford in 2010.
1, 2.
Next, you're going to tell me Ryan McGoldrick crops up in one of these teams.
You've got 5 to get. 5 to get. You've got the last number 20 to get. Who in a winger? He's a halfback / fullback.
Oh right, that shouldn't. So it's not Lomax. It's another like Lomax.
Don't play anymore. Really good player though when he played. He's played for like Harlequins. Played for Castleford.
This isn't that player, but Kieran Dixon.
No, played for London as well. Well, Harlequins London.
Yeah.
Probably played for both of them. Probably at the crossover. Actually,
Reece Hambro
with Luke Gale. When Hambro played. Well, no, it's not Hambro though.
No, I'm not actually. I'm just saying the name. 6/1 at Broncos.
He's been
obvious
on one year that I have done these like top so many try scorers on one of these episodes. He has been in it,
and he's going to be really obvious.
But ignore that. You've got some wingers who there's a winger who plays in for a contender in Super League right now, and he's mentioned on these podcasts.
Trying to think who you class as a contender. I'm sure it's going to be one of the big Lancashire teams at the moment. Tom Lynham?
Yep.
Is that the one?
That's the one, yeah. You've got... How many you've got?
This is
There's one halfback I'm surprised you haven't got.
Give me a hint of club.
Currently plays for Leeds.
Luke Gale?
No.
The other one? Richie Myler?
Yeah.
I was hoping it wasn't him.
Why? Because it's just more like...
Because it's more Myler comedy, isn't it, with whether or not he's any...
You've got a winger. You've got two wingers in that player I'm on about. You've got...
Two wingers?
The one of the wingers is actually quite high up on the list. He's above Eden.
Still
by
playing,
a try, below Watkins by a
retired.
try. Still playing. Plays in Championship now.
Okay.
He's played for... Clubs he's played for like... His most recent Super League club was Catalan.
Jody Broughton.
Yeah.
Is Craig Hall on there?
No. You've got a winger who doesn't play... I think he might have played in Championship League One for a couple of seasons, but then he just faded out, and then you've got that other last number 20. They're 18 and 20 you haven't got.
Oh, God, so he's going to be difficult to get then.
Yeah, think about it. Think about earlier
Wingers
2010s who sort of like... Think about...
What club did this other winger play
Warrington.
for? Chris Riley.
Yeah. Now you've just got this Castle. He last played... Think about it, he's been an answer to one before. Right, really good.
Rangy Chase?
No. Similar time though, fullback. I think he was fullback in that Chase era.
Cass's fullback then?
Well,
Number one, Luke Dawn.
Yeah. And that's you done.
That was surprisingly pain-free from what I was expecting. Right. Okay, I need to find a good one for you now.
Wasn't actually as hard as you'd probably have expected it to be.
No, perhaps not. So,
Because there are a lot of names that you just know, aren't there?
okay, I've got...
You're not happy with it?
I think call the trivia here for now, because it's not really decade related.
Alright,
And I feel like for the sake of sticking to the theme of the episode...
Also, we just want... That's it for today's decade episode.
We have now...
Yeah.
This is going to be the first one that's over an hour long, so thank you for sticking with it.
Decently over an hour long. But thanks for listening. Also, just make sure you're telling us what you think. Giving us... if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please just leave a review. Or even just put the... All you have to do is literally press the 5th star... Press that and it gives us a 5-star rating. That's all you have to do. Or if you don't
want to give us 5-star, you can give us something else.
Yeah. But I'm just saying it actually does make a difference.
Yeah.
And just let us know what you think, because obviously we're like, this will be episode 5. We just want to know how you think, how you're finding it.
We have YouTube comments. We have a Twitter.
Yeah. We can tell we're getting the people listening and watching, but we just want to know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know what you think about the trivia as well.
And also, we've mentioned it for the last few episodes now, we are planning on starting the mini videos around the time of the season.
Yeah, they'll be coming out. They're sort of going to be more timeless, where we'll bang out the videos, do them, and then we'll put them out.
Yeah, they're going to be coming on around the start of the new season.
But just to keep you
be sure to check those out. So if you're not already in touch with the YouTube channel, log on, drop us a subscribe if you
drop us a message on anything.
Very generous.
Well. Yeah. Also, just to keep you in the loop as well, just season starting from when you're getting this a couple of weeks. So I just want to let you know we've got Super League predictions that'll be coming up. We've got Championship and League One.
That's probably going to be the next feature length we record. Actually,
yeah.
Bear in mind, this is currently very early in January, so we are a bit ahead of schedule.
What has happened now, we have just released episode 3, and then we've got episode 4 to go out on next week, and then the week after that, this will be out, and then we're going to have this 2 prediction podcast, and then we're going to be right into the season, aren't we?
Yeah, so how accurate our predictions are going to be just yet remains to be seen.
Well, we're not recording
Things
it right
will
now.
Change,
we're not recording it today anyway, so we've got that coming. So just contact us, like and subscribe and everything. Thanks for listening.
Tweet this at your club's players. We want guests.
Yeah, well, we should have.
We're talking to a few who hopefully, fingers crossed, we might be able to sort something out.
So you've got that to look forward to as well.
But do drop it to your club. It'd be great to get more and more people involved.
And also, this will not actually be going out before then, so I will not mention what I'm going to mention. Because I was going to say we're going to be both at the Bradford Leeds game, so if you see us and you want any questions or anything like that, you can come speak to us. But this is actually...
This will have happened afterwards. So if you saw us, great. Good for you. I don't know what else to say because it's already happened.
Yeah.
But...
So we'll see you later. Thanks for listening / watching, and thank you. Bye.
Bye.